Broadcasting live from the Davy Crockett Explorer canoes, it's Contemporary Inc. with your host, Bill Blair, your Lorcana podcast. I've got to say, I'm feeling very refreshed after my nap, though I think it went on a little longer than I expected. But not long enough, as Lorcana content at your local Target and local game store have been severely cut back by Ravensburger. I've been pushed to the breaking point. My quest for cards has come up completely fruitless. I wish I had something to show you, but I've been left wanting. In the grand scheme of things, I don't think it's that big of a deal. A couple of weeks is not gonna break me. But as far as content goes, I'm in the middle of a drought that seems never ending. Last week we talked about PixelBorn, and I pulled the trigger. I did the deed. I downloaded the software, and I think it's time to give you a little walkthrough in the world of digital Lorcana. And I have to say, like a lot of bootleg content, it's not easy to adapt for those ready to lay down cash for cards. If you're not savvy to the ways of the internet, you'll find the process daunting. But Old Bill is here to help. That's right, it's Contemporary Inc. to the rescue. As we've talked about previously, I've been, let's just say, apprehensive about downloading this digital version of the card game that we're all so eager to play. But like all journeys, it starts with a first step. And that starts on Twitter, or X, or whatever they're calling it now. You'll want to check out, oh boy, Pavel Kolev 7? I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Bill doesn't really check out Twitter that much, so it's all new to me. But Pavel here has provided a link to a Google Drive where you can download the actual software needed to play the game. But like a lot of, let's just say, under-the-radar projects, that's just the first step. And that link will take you to a Google Drive page that has links for PC, Windows, and Mac, and Android software, though the Android software says that it's not supported. Old Bill has a Windows machine running, so I downloaded the PC version, and there was instantly a link from Google saying that the file was too big for a virus check and that you would download this file at your own risk. But as they say, fortune favors the bold, and I pressed forward. The file download was quick, and I instantly gave it the old check on Avast for viruses and malware and the like. The file came back clean. I felt okay unzipping the archive. The files inside were banal enough, passing a secondary virus check with ease. I opened the program titled PixelBorn.exe and was surprised with a splash screen that didn't look quite right. I think that this might be an offshoot of another project where the art is more, I don't know, Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering based. I don't understand what's happening here. There's a guest login, and then there's an email and password login. It seems overly complicated. The next menu seems easy enough with home, play, and collection. Also, that there's a link to their Discord, and if you want to become a Patreon, something we'll check into later. Play links to a menu that has PvP, custom, leaderboards, statistics, and test. And since this is just a test, I clicked on that first button, hoping to not join a game with someone eager to actually play a well-versed opponent. Suddenly, the playfield is overrun with something that looks very familiar from my explorations on YouTube. It says invalid deck on both playfields with 7 cards drawn. The menu said that this was for internal testing only, and I'm finding not a lot of playability in this test mode, though it does seem, again, derived from some other game. Another problem is none of the cards have art or words associated with them. There seems to be a large gap in the content here. I go on Reddit and find a lot of people asking, how do they find the card art for PixelBorn? And the answer is simple. This is an underground bootleg version. So the game itself cannot be copyrighted, but the images associated with that game can be. The reality means that the PixelBorn software can be distributed freely, but the images that we need to associate with the cards exist in a legal gray area that you have to download separately. I pushed ever forward. There was mention on Reddit of a Discord where you could download the visual assets for this piece of software, but I couldn't actually find a link to that Discord anywhere in the documentation or the initial Twitter post. Luckily, some digging on a YouTube video yielded a link to a Discord server where those art assets were freely available. Those art assets assembled comprise a 350 megabyte zip file that can be uncompressed and placed into a very specific location on your hard drive. Mac users will have to figure this out on their own because Bill doesn't play that way. After a quick update to the software, I was able to find that all of the cards were available in my collection. All the characters, songs, and items were right there in their full high-def glory. The one thing that was a little off-putting was there's no access to decks on here, so you're going to have to make your own. Thankfully, there is a method to do that, but we found something a little bit more intuitive on another site. Dreamborn.ink offers a robust tool set for assembling a deck of Lorcana cards. It also includes thousands of decks pre-made by users from all around the globe. Arranged by popularity, I found a green and yellow goblin deck that seemed to fit the criteria for something legal for play. With a few simple clicks, that deck can be exported to a format that PixelBorn understands. A short paragraph of gibberish that can be pasted into a form under the Import Deck tab in the deck setting. With the art assets and a deck loaded in, you're ready to play. PvP is easy with the software finding you a random player somewhere around the world in less than 30 seconds. But if you're like me and want to play with someone a little closer to home, there is a custom tab that lets you enter in a game name. In this mode, the software waits for another player to enter in the same game name, and then the game will start. These casual games don't affect stats or ranking, but will definitely let you play with your friends far afield. There's a leaderboard that includes people who I'm sure have played thousands of games online, but I couldn't care less about any of it. The idea that Mrs. Blair and I can play a PvP game match right here in our very own home is so exciting, I can barely express it with words. If you do decide to go over to dreamborn.inc, there's a neat little feature that I think you might enjoy. They've included a tracker that seems to be linked to secondary card pricing, where the value of amassing the deck in real dollars is posted next to the name. Some decks go for as little as $100, while others go up into the thousands. This Elsa control deck I'm looking at from just a few days ago has a value of $2,338, making PixelBorn the superior way to play if you're not independently wealthy. In complete honesty, I've yet to play a complete game yet. My circle of friends is woefully small, and interest among them is short, to say the least. So I just checked the blotter, and apparently this is a mini-sode, so you know what that means. We're going to check in on eBay and the pricing over there. The D23 cards from last October continue to be a point of interest. That Hook card, the Captain Hook, selling at a PSA 10 is actually dropped down to $2,350, while the Robin Hood card has maintained its value at $2,500. The Maleficent card is up to $3,560. The Cruella card dropping down just a couple of bucks from $2,100 to $2,075. The hype surrounding the Stitch card has dropped its value down to $2,800 from a high of $4,000 just 2 weeks ago, whereas the free Mickey promo card has settled down to $3,450 from a high of $3,700, again just 2 weeks ago. In a weird turn of events, the Elsa card has stagnated at $6,207, that last sale being a couple of weeks ago. There are a few examples in Canada and Germany, but I don't count those because, well, they're foreign. If you absolutely need to check in on that the box of booster packs, then you're going to find your investment skyrocketing up to somewhere around $370 for something that MSRP'd at $144 just a few weeks ago. I think this is particularly interesting given the logistics of building a deck in 2023. Obviously, the cheapest way to play is to pick up a starter deck for $17.99. But if you want to get an average of 48 cards of each color, you're gonna have to buy that booster box. Do you want those enchanted cards? Again, you're gonna have to buy packs. And I don't see any way around it. If you want to be competitive, you're gonna have to push as much cash as possible into buying stuff, either at your local game store or on the secondary market. That is, if you can find cards at all. As the nuances of the scene keep changing, so will my opinions on what's the best way to play. And hopefully, in this next week, me and the missus will give this PixelBorn thing a chance and really fall into, competitive play. At least here in my house. But until then, remember, ashes to ashes, funk to funky, we know Mr. Toad's a junkie.